Right now on the National Weather Desk, flood threat. Just months after rising rivers devastated Rhode Island communities, worries it could happen again.
If this is climate change, right, then we have to adapt to it.
From snow to water, the benefits of last week's massive blizzard out west.
Really great for the water supply.
Springing forward, a look at the history of shifting time as we adjust our clocks this weekend.
There's a very rich story behind it, and it may surprise you.
Signs of spring are appearing up north. Is this winter gone for good? Plus, disturbing news about rising temperatures in the air and in the ocean.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Amira David. Flood warnings are posted for southern New England rivers this morning as a storm system that brought several inches of rain to the region is pulling away. The threat comes just months after severe floods devastated the state in December and January. Many buildings had feet of water inside while streets were shut down by high water. As Allegra Zamor shows us, things are not so bad this morning.
Just over a month ago, this parking lot here at the Apponaug Brewing Company was completely flooded. Today, thankfully, we are not seeing too much of that flooding so far, but you can see that the river is moving very quickly here this morning. And as Christina mentioned, we will definitely be keeping an eye on those rivers throughout the day. Yesterday, many businesses across the region that are used to dealing with this flooding weren't taking any chances. Sandbags lined the front entrances of stores along Branch Avenue, where some stores are still empty from the last flood. In Warwick here, the owner of Apponaug Brewing Company says she gets nervous when the Patuxent River starts to rise.
You know, if this is climate change, right, then we have to adapt to it. But we have to have a plan. Who knew that my favorite page on my phone would be the level of the river? You know, I check it multiple times a day. You know, it's like a bad dating site.
Well, across the South, there's a threat of severe storms through the weekend. Today's greatest threat is in Oklahoma and central Texas. Tomorrow it moves east with a slight risk stretching from East Texas to Alabama. And by Saturday, the southeast coast, including South Carolina and Georgia, are at risk of storms that could include hail, tornadoes, and strong winds. Recent winter storms brought much needed snow to the Sierra Nevada mountains, boosting snowpack levels close to normal for this time of year. Abigail Verowick has more from outside Reno.
According to experts, the storm increased the snowpack in the Truckee, Carson, and Walker River basins by about 30%. Now, snowpack levels in the eastern Sierra and western Nevada nearing normal levels after a slow start to the winter season.
Really great for the water supply. We were started out pretty slow start to the winter. December was not much of a month for snow. January was actually kind of decent. February was actually pretty good, but we're still quite a bit behind until the very end of February when this last storm came and dropped quite a bit of water content up in the mountains and down into the valleys as well.
Sierra snowpack was at only 44% of its median level, marking one of the 6 worst starts to winter on record since 1981. February storms helped gain some ground, boosting snowpack levels close to normal for this time of year.
And what normal really means is it means that we're in the middle of the pack of the historic record. So we use the median to compare against, which is the middle value. So when you get to 100% of median, that means that you've beat 50% of the years, and there's still 50% of the years that were bigger. So we still have about 3 more weeks, or 3 to 4 more weeks, depending on how the winter goes and what the temperatures are and what storms happen. But typically our snowpack peaks right around April 1st. So, we still have between now and then to add more snow.
This Sunday, we reach a milestone along our pathway to spring. Most of the nation will begin to observe daylight saving time. So why is this the case? Meteorologist Dante Ricky looks at the history.
We call it daylight saving time for a reason. This is singular. There is no S on the end of the word saving. It was first done in 1918 here in the United States. There's a very rich story behind it, and it may surprise you, believe it or not. In fact, there are some really good things that happen from springing forward, but there's also some negative impacts that we have to be aware of as well. So where did this all start? Well, it started back in the times of World War I and World War II. The Standard Time Act of 19 1918 and the Wartime Act of 1942 had a simple purpose: to put us into daylight saving time, conserving our resources here in the United States during the war. By the 1960s, this became a regular occurrence. We started to spring forward starting on the last Sunday of April, and we stayed in that daylight saving time until the last Sunday of October. That was the case in the 1960s when the Uniform Time Act was passed. When we got to the 70s, there was an oil crisis. That actually allowed for a couple of years there in the mid-70s for daylight saving time to start early in January and in February. But once conditions improved, that practice also went back to April. And as more recent times have come, we found ways to continue to save more energy and resources. In the 2005, the Energy Policy Act allowed us to start daylight saving time on the second Sunday of March each year, and the first Sunday of November ends the daylight saving time. That's where we are at this point in time. Here's how it works, everyone. You turn your clocks forward 1 hour when you go to bed on Saturday evening. At 1:59 a.m., the next minute will take us straight to 3 in the morning.
And we continue our countdown to the solar eclipse across America. We are now just 32 days away. The town of Greenville in Ohio will have one of the longest views of the eclipse in totality. Lydia Bice caught up with city officials there to find out what the small town is expecting for this once-in-a-lifetime event.
In the afternoon on April 8th, the city of Greenville will see total darkness. And the city is celebrating this once-in-a-lifetime occurrence with all sorts of fun.
So here in downtown Greenville, we plan to be the entertainment hub for the weekend.
Between mini golf on Friday evening, the Eclipse Shopping Passport, live bands on Saturday, and the pre-totality food truck rally on Sunday, Greenville will have something for everyone during solar eclipse weekend, April 5th through the 8th. Now, just after 3 p.m. on April 8th, the city of Greenville will be in total darkness for about 4 minutes. That will be one of the longest segments of totality in the whole state of Ohio. If you head to the Greenville area, you can view the solar eclipse from Eldora Speedway in Darke County. But if you know someone coming from out of town and they haven't gotten a hotel room, they might be out of luck.
You can try and call and find a room, get on a waiting list, but from what I know, we're pretty well booked up, and I think surrounding counties are as well.
And when it comes to safety measures, the Darke County Sheriff's Office has been preparing for over a year.
We'll be increasing staffing in the 911 center. We'll be increasing staffing, both fire, EMS, and law enforcement agencies, as well as the Sheriff's Office.
If you're in a big hurry to leave once the eclipse is over, you might want to think again.
Security-wise, I think the biggest concern that we have in our county is going to be how's the traffic going to look? And we really don't know, but we are anticipating and trying to prepare for what could be a significant amount of traffic.
And stay with the National Weather Desk as we count down the days until the April 8th eclipse. We'll also have much more on the eclipse posted on our YouTube channel. Just search the National Weather Desk, and while you're there, be sure to subscribe. We have several stories now showing the impact climate change is having on our world right now. We start with a new report confirming something we already knew. 2023 was the world's hottest year on record. The data from Europe's Climate Change Service shows an alarming leap in global temperatures last year. This brings the world dangerously close to a critical climate change threshold. And the rising temperatures, well, they are not slowing down. The same group says February was the hottest February on record. This is the 9th month in a row the Earth has broken a monthly global heat record. Meantime, temperatures across the North Atlantic Ocean hit an unprecedented level. Temperatures broke daily record highs every day for a year straight. The warmer water could have a devastating impact on marine ecosystems, not to mention extreme weather. Experts say the current ocean temperatures are typical of what they'd find in early summer. That could mean we're in for a really bad hurricane season. Then there are the cities along the Atlantic Ocean. A new report says they are sinking at alarming rates. New York, Virginia Beach, Charleston, South Carolina, and Savannah, Georgia, among the cities sinking the most. The study also showed that much of the Gulf Coast is sinking rapidly, with southern Louisiana especially threatened by rising waters. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we're going to hear about the importance of using native plants when creating at-home gardens.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. More wet weather is in the forecast overnight and into the morning on Thursday, 1 a.m. Heavy rainfall is moving through. Flood watches are up for a good chunk of the Northeast, especially in New England. Now, the rain tapers to rain showers on Thursday, and the trend will be for improvement throughout the day with temps running in the low 40s. Friday's a nice day. We'll see a lot of sunshine on Friday in the Northeast. Our next system moving in over the weekend will be late Saturday and into Sunday.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Javeli. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. We should continue to dry out through your Thursday. Sunshine should actually appear by the afternoon. I think we'll stay nice and dry until Saturday as our next storm system arrives, bringing us chances for some showers then. Likely hitting the 50s to perhaps 60s as we head through the afternoon Thursday. And then we see some warmer temperatures coming, not until next week, but 50s for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will be cooler.
I'm meteorologist Venus Reed. Here's a look at your Southeast forecast highs for the day. Looking at 74 in Tupelo, 71 in Atlanta, 69 in Raleigh, 83 in Tampa, 79 West Palm. Looking at sun and clouds across parts of the Southeast from the Carolinas through Georgia. A little more cloud structure over parts of Tennessee and some showers by Memphis. But it looks like that weather maker will slowly make its way over parts of the Mississippi River Valley. But looking at plenty of sunshine along the I-95 corridor and down through parts of Florida.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
And now let's check in to see the weather in cities across the country today. We start in Washington, where President Biden will deliver his State of the Union address tonight here at the Capitol. Today will be partly to mostly sunny with highs in the lower 60s. Today will be the best day of the week in Macon, Georgia. There will be more sun than clouds with temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. Next up is Johnstown in western Pennsylvania. The town is drying out today with highs in the 50s. That's 10 to 15 degrees above the average. And finally, a look at Kirkville in northeastern Missouri. There is a 70% chance of rain today with highs in the low to mid 50s. Temperatures are warming up and spring is just around the corner, which means many people may want to start a garden. Joelle Vasquez spoke to a horticulturist about the importance of using native plant species.
The berries on this holly tree are an important food source for many birds. The fringe on this tree will be used as nesting material, and once these mountain azaleas bloom, they'll attract hummingbirds and butterflies.
So you can imagine in springtime, another 4 or 5 weeks from now, in April, it'll be just loaded with beautiful pink flowers.
Miles Arnott, the VP for Horticulture and Conservation at Brookgreen Gardens, says native plants are vital to maintaining a healthy ecosystem.
A lot of these native plants are host plants for some of the butterflies that lay their eggs on the plants. The caterpillars hatch out and start to eat the plants, and then the birds come, and that's what the mama and papa birds use to feed their little babies in the nest.
Arnott says adding native plants like a toadshade trillium or rain lily are easy to have in your garden since they are extremely disease and insect resistant and require less fertilization. Not to mention, since they're used to South Carolina's climate, they don't need as much water.
Now, of course, if we go into a severe drought, they can use a drink. But generally speaking, they don't have the same requirements for water that a lot of the ornamental horticultural plants do, which is great. Easy on your water bill, too.
However, Arnott says rapid growth is leaving many of these plants without a home.
We are losing a lot of our native plants. So that's another way you can be a conservationist in your own backyard, is by incorporating these plants and giving them a home as they've been displaced from nature.
Arnett says just taking small steps and incorporating native plants into your garden can make a huge difference.
Without those plants, you don't have the butterflies, you don't have all the beautiful birds at your backyard feeder. They really depend on those native plants. And plus, a diverse natural world is a wonderful thing.
Bad thing. And early signs of spring are appearing in parts of Wisconsin. Some trees are starting to bud earlier than usual, even though sub-freezing temperatures could still return this season. Meteorologist Phil DeCastro has more.
Trees, native trees especially, have evolved to, live with ups and downs of temperature and moisture levels. So far, so good. A little bit of concern what's going to come in the next couple weeks and a month as things really start to wake up. And if we do get some leaf development early and then get some cold weather, we could see some setbacks.
But Pilote says the setback for most native species isn't usually too severe. Even if early leaflets do end up seeing a frost or freeze, he says trees can produce a second round of leaflets to make up for any damaged or lost foliage. And there are some signs that our trees may be on track to leaf out earlier than normal.
This is a look at something called leaf out anomaly. Basically, it's a look at certain types of early leaf deciduous species, broadleaf trees, and compares the start of their leafing process to when it would normally occur. So, for example, this year, the Gulf Coast, you see in all the blue colors there, running a few days behind normal. Head up into the Mid-South, it was running a few days ahead of normal. But even farther to the north, we're starting to see the species that they track leafing out already up into some parts of central Illinois. That is running nearly 3 weeks ahead of schedule, thanks in large part to how warm it's been this winter across the Midwest. And if this trend continues to expand north over the next few weeks, there is a chance that some leaf buds could start appearing around here earlier than usual as well. Now, thankfully, Pilote says that this wouldn't endanger the trees either. They're used to our weather, but it's just even more evidence of the remarkable winter warmth that we've had this year.
The National Weather Service is working to improve forecasting and communication for folks living in Washington State and Oregon. Meteorologist Allison Guttleber shows us how adding more forecast zones will make a huge difference.
I think back to February 14th of 2022, and we had that massive ice storm, but it only hit the east side. The west side got nothing. They got rain. So we're able to actually warn just for the eastern metro, right at the mouth of the gorge.
Before, we had 23 zones throughout the area. Now we have 39 zones, 11 for Washington and 28 for Oregon.
The new zones, the way we have them organized, is a little bit more detailed, more topography driven, localized effect driven.
Meteorologists at the National Weather Service Portland office have been working on these new zones for more than 9 months, carefully examining elevation thresholds, local climatology, and major transportation routes.
Historically, we have seen above, let's say, 500 feet in Portland and Multnomah County along Skyline, we would get snow there. Whereas in the lowlands, closer to the airport, let's say, we wouldn't see that snow. So historically, we've struggled to identify visually to the public where that snow is going to be and where that warning is issued for.
Now, the new zone setup will hopefully lead to less confusion while giving more accuracy for their watches, warnings, and advisories.
By doing this, we're able to provide that life-saving information in a more detailed way so that it can actually be utilized by the general public to make decisions.
Severe weather week continues across many parts of the country. Charleston meteorologist Cheriston Clark recently posted on TikTok about the dangers of lightning and what you can do to protect yourself.
One thing that you will always hear meteorologists stress is when thunder roars, head indoors. One thing that you might not realize is that lightning can travel far away from a thunderstorm. I've seen it plenty of times where, you've got a thunderstorm, right in your area, but there's a lightning strike being popped up on radar miles away. So it's very important that you are always staying weather aware. And if you do hear that thunder, it means that you are close enough to be struck. I also did a little bit of research just to see if any of the stats have changed about lightning fatalities. And one thing that I did come across is in 2023. This was updated by the National Weather Service in October of 2023. So I'm not sure of any fatalities afterwards, but in 2023 up to October, there were 13 lightning fatalities. So that is why we are always stressing to go inside. I know I'm guilty of it, staying out, standing out on your patio, taking video of the lightning because it's just so mesmerizing, right? But it's very dangerous and can be fatal. So make sure that if you do hear that thunder, you do see that lightning, you get inside immediately.
Really critical tips. And we're going to take a short break, but first we take flight over Michigan's Boardman River.
Well, a very good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. We've got rain moving its way in across the southern Midwest for the day today, and that'll continue moving up towards the Great Lakes in the Ohio Valley for the day tomorrow. And this wet weather sticking around. Even some snow, though, on the tail end of this system where it is a little bit colder for tomorrow. By Saturday, moving out towards the Ohio Valley and out of here with sunshine coming out across the plains. And temperatures will be on the cool side over the next few days.
Good Thursday morning to you. Meteorologist Chris Suchan. Look at our forecast today across the region and on the lookout for a few strong to severe storms. Texas into Oklahoma. Wind and hail primary concerns later in the afternoon into a Thursday night. Temperatures pretty mild still. And then that severe weather risk will shift into East Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. Hail, wind, primary hazards, isolated tornado risk, and turning much colder in North Texas and parts of Oklahoma.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. A gradual warming up across all of the West. In fact, slowly but surely, we're adding a few degrees to our high temperatures as we're getting out of those below normal temperatures that help bring in some storm systems that are splattering some snow across parts of the desert Southwest for the day. Light rain showers for California, and we're awaiting a new, stronger system ahead for the weekend for much of the West Coast. That's the scene from here.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Well, hello, halo. This 22-degree ring of light around the sun spotted recently over El Paso. Halos need thin cirrus clouds to form. They also need light from the sun or moon to refract off ice crystals in those clouds. And any day is a good one for catch. For Canyon the Chocolate Lab, it's extra fun when there's a bunch of snow to work with.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Meteorological spring is here and runs until the end of May. The numbers show spring is getting warmer. Meteorologist Emily Santom explains with stats from New England and across the nation.
Most of New England has seen a seasonal increase of around 2 degrees. In Portland, the average temperature increased by 2.1 degrees. And 175 U.S. locations saw at least 7 more warmer than normal spring days. Portland saw 13 more. In the U.S., the Southwest and the Southeast saw even larger numbers. El Paso, Texas saw 38 more days, and in Tampa, Florida, 35. Now as for spring 2024 in New England, the Climate Prediction Center is forecasting for those mild and above average temps we've been seeing to continue well throughout May.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Amira David. Make it a wonderful Thursday, and we will see you right back here tomorrow.